Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Death of Naruto and Shion at the Hands of Sasuke and Sakura and Naruto Want Build Harem Part 2. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Naruto woke to find 4 girls in his hospital room, Haku who was reading his chart and smiling, Yoshiko who was adjusting an IV bag, Hinata who just smiled at him while sitting next to him her own hospital gown, and finally there was a pale brown-haired girl who just smiled while she sat next to Hinata. Hinata spoke up first. "Good morning Naruto-kun." This caused the other girls to turn and look at Naruto. All smiled warmly at him. He was not sure what to do so he began by smiling. "Morning Hinata. How are you?" Hinata blushed then spoke. "I am better now Naruto-kun, thank you. I would like to thank you for helping my family especially Neji-Nisan." Naruto grinned broadly. "See? I keep my promises, Hinata. I also think I pulled that stick out of his ass." Yoshiko and Haku both giggled at Naruto's statement, but Yakumo and Hinata both blushed and put their hands over their mouths to stifle their giggles. "Yes Naruto-kun, I think you did. You also made a friend of him." Yoshiko replied. Naruto blushed and became embarrassed. "I have 2 questions." Haku smiled and nodded at Naruto. "And what would those be, Naruto-kun?" Naruto took a deep breath. "Is Sakura-chan okay?" Yoshiko moved over and put her hand on Naruto's head. This caused Naruto to blush. "She had minor injuries. Haku-chan and I arrived just after your battle with Gaara of the desert. Haku-chan treated her for cracked ribs and a concussion. Sasuke had minor bruises and was suffering from chakra exhaustion. You my dear." Yoshiko drugged the deer out seductively as she touched his chin affectionately. "Suffered from chakra exhaustion, broken ribs, a broken right arm, internal bruising and bleeding. You took a pounding out there. I am just glad we were there to help you." "So what is your second question?" Naruto began to stutter. Why are all you girls here in my room?" Hinata began to giggle. "Because silly, we all care about you Naruto-kun." Hinata explained. Yakumo stood and bowed to Naruto. "I am Yakumo Kurama of the Kurama clan. I am here because I owe you a debt and have watched you from afar." "As a matter of fact we all have." Naruto looked around the room and saw that all the girls nodded in turn as his gaze fall upon them. "Huh, why watch me and not the I mean Sasuke?" Yoshiko sat on the bed next to Naruto, to which he blushed. "Because silly we find that there is more to you than the stuck-up Uchiha. We prefer our mystery man of the happy variety." Naruto looked around the room again only to see them all nod again. A nurse entered the room and looked around the room seeing 3 house heirs and the newest medic who also had a bloodline all in the demon's room. Naruto, you will be released in a couple hours. Yoshiko-sama and Haku-chan there are other patients that require care. Can you go check on Sasuke-sama please?" Yoshiko's and Haku's faces both turned dark for an instant only Hinata and Yakumo noticed. Yoshiko in the most sickly sweet voice she could muster replied. "But of course I would love to dote over the last of the great Uchiha. Wouldn't you Haku-chan?" Naruto noticed the sarcasm and suppressed a grin. "But of course I would love to spend some time with Sasuke-chan. Shall we go?" Haku replied with the most evil grin Naruto had ever seen cross the girl's face. He almost felt sorry for Sasuke, almost. The nurse, Yoshiko, and Haku all left the room as the remaining inhabitants laughed heartily. Hinata blushed. "Naruto-kun, please be safe." Hinata got up gently placed her hands upon Naruto's cheeks and then planted a passionate kiss on Naruto's lips. She then left the room as she smiled longingly at Naruto who wore a stupid grin. Naruto after a few minutes a confused look came upon his face as he watched the doorway where Hinata had left a little bit ago. What was that all about? Yakumo blushed. "I will tell you in a month or so. Until then do not dwell on it. Just remember you have friends and we all care about you, Naruto-kun. I must take my leave of you or I will be late for my own checkup. Have a good day and be safe." Yakumo stood and bowed to Naruto. She then left, not sure if she had said too much or not. She was almost sure that Hinata was pushing the envelope, but he needed to get a clue. Even if they had to strip him down and have their way with him, then so be it. Naruto called after her. Goodbye Yakumo-san, and it was nice to meet you. Naruto heard what he thought was Haku screaming, and then a second later Sasuke screamed like a girl. Naruto chuckled at the thought of Haku pushing an ice Senbon into Sasuke's backside. Kakashi entered the room. Yo. How is my hyperactive student? Not causing too much trouble for the staff, are you? Kakashi asked nonchalantly. Naruto folded his arms in HMPHED at Kakashi. No, actually, they are kicking me out later today. Kakashi raised an eyebrow. Good job in getting Sasuke to safety. I understand that he was exhausted after fighting Gaara. Naruto eyed his sensei. You could say that. If Ero Sennin hadn't taken the time to train me, a lot of people would be dead now. Sasuke was only able to injure Gaara, but he only awakened his anger and made fighting him that much worse. Kakashi flashed a look of anger and then waved as he left. Glad to see you're feeling better. The Hokage's funeral will be tomorrow, full funeral attire. We will meet on top of the tower for the ceremony. I'm sorry, Naruto. Kakashi looked back sadly as Naruto felt devastated by the reality that Sarutobi, the third Hokage and his adoptive grandfather, was now dead. The rest of Naruto's day went by him in a blur. He later just went home and went to bed. The funeral was attended by the whole village, even those who could be wheeled to the event even attended. Yoshiko was able to be up on the tower with the shinobi. She heard Iruka, Naruto and Kakashi talk about the loss to the village as Iruka attempted to comfort Konohamaru. Yoshiko later watched as Kakashi teasingly told Naruto how to create a Chidori, knowing full well that he would not teach him that jutsu. She also overheard the conversation between Sakura and Sasuke where he awarded the credit for saving her to Naruto, even after Sakura insisted that Naruto could never have accomplished it. Yoshiko also noticed the look in Sasuke's eyes of resentment towards Naruto for being able to defeat an opponent that he couldn't. Yoshiko visited Naruto the next morning an hour before Jiraiya took him out of the village to go find Tsunade. Yoshiko knocked on Naruto's door. Naruto opened the door a few moments later in only his boxers. Yeah, what is it? Naruto asked sleepily. Yoshiko chuckled at Naruto's state of undress. Do you answer the door in your boxers all the time, Naruto-kun? Naruto chuckled in embarrassment as he realized that he was not even dressed. He dashed back into his apartment only to leave the door open. Yoshiko stepped in and took off her sandals. May I come in, Naruto-kun? Yoshiko heard Naruto respond from farther in the apartment. Yeah, sure, you can come in. So what is your visit for? Yoshiko blushed as she lied to Naruto. I just wanted to check up on you after your discharge from the hospital and after the funeral. I know you were close to him and it was just kind of strange that they let you out before your wounds should not have been fully healed. Naruto came before her in a black t-shirt with an orange Konoha leaf symbol on the front and his normal pants. Oh, they do that to me all the time, except for Dr. Kikyo. She is one of the ones that makes sure I am alright before she says I can go. There are a couple of nurses that watch over me too. Yoshiko used her index finger to indicate that she wanted Naruto to approach her, so Naruto complied as Yoshiko kissed him on the forehead. Now you have 2 more nurses that will watch over you. You also have others that will also watch over you. Naruto blushed but also wore a confused look on his face. Do you mean Haku-chan too? Naruto asked as Yoshiko nodded. So, what was with Hinata-chan? Naruto whispered the term of endearment. Yoshiko looked wryly at Naruto. What do you mean? Naruto looked frustrated. Well, I was hoping my first kiss would be with Sakura-chan, but some guy bumped into me and I kissed Sasuke-tem. Naruto stated with much revulsion as Yoshiko politely chuckled at Naruto's troubles. And then when all you girls were in my room, Hinata-chan kissed me on the lips when she left. Yoshiko smiled warmly at Naruto. So you are worried that Sakura-san will hear about this and be angry? Naruto nodded at the question. I am sure if you ask Hinata-chan she wouldn't mind doing it again. I'm tempted to kiss you too. Yoshiko's statement caused fear to creep into Naruto's face. Don't worry, I will not kiss you yet, it is not time and we do not know each other well enough, yet. Phew, that is a relief. I was worried that all you girls were going to kiss me all at once. Naruto stated. Would you like that, Naruto-kun? Yoshiko's question caused Naruto to wonder if he did. No matter. Please sit on the bed and sit still. Yoshiko ordered as she began a diagnostic on Naruto. Jiraiya came in just as she had moved over his pelvis. Entertaining girls in your home now, are we, Naruto? You are a boy after my own heart, and Princess Tsunade's daughter no less. I'm impressed. Jiraiya stated with a leer as Yoshiko blushed. Jiraiya didn't fail to notice this reaction as she finished her diagnostic jutsu. Shut up, Ero Sennin. Naruto replied in an annoyed voice. What are you doing here anyways? Jiraiya smirked and pointed at Yoshiko. We are going to go retrieve a beautiful woman, her mother to be exact. And I am going to give you some training on the way. I have already cleared it with Kakashi and the council, so we are off. Yoshiko bowed as Naruto began to collect items for a trip to retrieve someone. Excuse me, Master Jiraiya, but am I going along too? Jiraiya looked at her and bade her to approach. Naruto, you get ready, I have to talk to Yoshiko-chan here. Jiraiya turned to Yoshiko and spoke in hushed tones. I hope you know what you are doing. That boy may not want to be involved with you. I will also leave it to you to explain to your mother about what you want from him, and you do not have to come on this mission. I had set it up so it would be me and Naruto. Thank you for your concern, Master Jiraiya, but I will eventually worm my way into his heart. He is not so hard to understand, less so than people might think. He is bright and talented, if he were given a chance he could prove that. As for not telling my mother, I thank you for that. I will inform her when I see her again. Yoshiko assured Jiraiya. Just don't let him break your heart when he puts his mind to something he will not give up easily or possibly at all. From what I have seen, he has it hard for the pink-haired girl on his team. Jiraiya warned her. She doesn't care for him, so she will lose to me as I do care for the boy. Yoshiko replied as she kept an eye on Naruto out of the corner of her eye. But does he know about it? If not, then he will be oblivious to it and he may not even be able to love. Jiraiya stated with a very saddened look on his face. You know something about him and his hard life, don't you? Yoshiko questioned. Nothing I can tell you. I wish you luck in your quest. Jiraiya graciously stated as he put a reassuring hand on her shoulder. Jiraiya turned to Naruto and spoke up. Time to go, we have to catch an important woman, now let's go. Yeah, I just hope he is not going to peek on your mother in some bath. Naruto stated as he approached the two at his door. Yoshiko giggled as she knew that Tsunade had nearly killed him for that once, as Jiraiya paled at the notion of peeking on Tsunade. Good luck, Naruto-kun, I will wait for you safe return. Yoshiko called as the two males walked towards the gates. Naruto waved at Yoshiko as smiled and waved back. The other four members of the Naruto fan club hid as Naruto left the village. Yoshiko eventually saw a guy bring back Sasuke later that same day. She knew how to fix the problem but lacked the chakra control. She needed to have more chakra control to fix the genjutsu that Itachi had placed upon Sasuke, but also knew that her mother would have to fix it so that Naruto would see how little Sakura thought of him, even for helping his rival and her crush. Her work with Lee left him only needing major surgery from her mother, not life-threatening surgery. It would take some work for Tsunade to figure out the details of the surgery. Yoshiko knew it, but did not want to share as it would create more possible problems with the timeline when she didn't want them to appear just yet. Yoshiko notified the hospital that she would be taking a week or two off in a couple weeks. Haku and Isaribi were concerned and asked why. Yoshiko's answer was simple. I need to be there for Naruto-kun on his return trip. If I can make a connection to him, it will be easier for him to make a break from Sakura. I also need to confront my mother and father. You know who your father is. Haku asked as Isaribi listened intently. Believe it or not, Jiraiya is my father. In this way I will have them in the same place at once so I can get them to admit to it. I can also inform them that I know that I am a Jinchuriki like Naruto-kun. I also know that Naruto-kun will suffer a near-fatal injury, only my mother can fix it, but I want to be there to help if I can. I will try not to interfere, but he will need extensive healing as will everyone that is coming back. Jiraiya will suffer broken ribs, and a broken ankle. Shizune will suffer from torn Achilles tendons and Mom will suffer from using her healing jutsu. Yoshiko commented. I forgot that little tidbit, sorry. Then go bring our man back to us and make sure he is okay. Now that people are getting back to work we will have less to do at the hospital. I am sure we can live without you at the hospital for a little while. We also will continue to train. We have added both Hinata-chan and Yakumo-chan to the training regime. Kurenai-san has also asked if she and the rest of her team could join us in our training as Hazasuma-san. I am not sure how to answer. They seem to want to have their teams work on chakra control and have one of their team members become a medic. We have that already with Hinata-chan, and Yakumo isn't even a shinobi or shinobi trained. We have been slowly working on her stamina and strength. Haku replied with a sly smile. Yoshiko nodded as she assimilated the information. Since when have you guys been working with Yakumo-chan? It happened last a couple days ago when both her Anbu doctor and Kurenai-san gave her a clean bill of health. Kurenai also offered up Anko-san to be a possible sensei for our group if we actually become shinobi. Isaribi replied. Well, we have 4 females, 2 have been truly trained, the other 2 have no practical training. That would be Haku and me with the actual training. While Yakumo-chan and Isaribi-chan are talented, they do not have actual training. The best we could hope for would be that we would be a team with either Haku-chan or I become the sensei. Otherwise we would have to be split. We are also heavy in medical training. I am afraid we might also have to take Sakura into our little group, if only to make sure she gets medical training. Isaribi-chan could get some training in taijutsu, but Yakumo-chan is our weak point. While she is strong in genjutsu, she needs to be stronger in both taijutsu and ninjutsu. Yoshiko pointed out. I am working with Guy on the taijutsu training. He and Lee seem quite willing to help me. Yakumo-chan would not be able to keep up with their schedule. I can only last for about 30 minutes on their schedule, but they do enjoy the company. Oh, and I will not wear that ridiculous spandex outfit. I do not want to be seen as if I were wearing nothing at all. It leaves little to the imagination. I would rather go than wear that outfit, but if Naruto-kun wanted me to wear it I would, for him and only him. Isaribi admitted with a blush as the other 2 girls laughed. The next week was spent working at the hospital and training. Kurenai's full team showed up if they were not doing missions, only Ino from Asuma's team showed up for the training. Yoshiko and Haku were taskmasters in training, even pushing Kurenai near her limits in both physical and mental abilities. Yoshiko would work everyone in the fields of medicine, either with plant knowledge, poison knowledge or medicinal knowledge. Haku focused on the physical. This left everyone that attended the training worn out physically and mentally. Yakumo made tremendous strides in improving her physical abilities. She went from being a weak, barely able to move girl to actually having the physical abilities of a second-year academy student. Kurenai was pleased with her progress and was not at all worried if she actually hurt herself, as there were 2 trained medical personnel ready to render assistance. Kiba and Shino added to the training with their knowledge of both animals and insects. After the week of intensive training, Yoshiko gave them all a book project to work on while she would be off on a trip to find her mother. Haku would continue the training but at a much slower pace, as they would only have 1 medic ready to go. Yoshiko left the village with little fanfare other than an Anbu with the symbol of Ne on his mask. The Anbu finally left her alone after about half day's travel out from the village. Yoshiko was glad to have gotten rid of the root member. Although she did run into a couple bandits along the way, she made short work of them as she continued on her way to Atofika Guy and the meeting she would have with Naruto-kun, Jiraiya, Shizune and her good old mother. She entered the town and booked a room in the inn that she knew they would be staying in. She got to the baths and soaked for a couple hours before she knew they would arrive. She came up to her room just as Naruto, Jiraiya, Shizune and Tsunade began to enter their rooms. Yoshiko began to run as she headed towards Tsunade. Mom. Tsunade turned and looked at Yoshiko in surprise. Yoshiko-chan, what are you doing here? I had a guess that Naruto-kun would find you and I figured that you would stay here and so I decided to meet you on your way back. I missed you mother. Yoshiko embraced Tsunade. Naruto blanched and pointed at Yoshiko and Tsunade. You mean she's your mother? The fear was evident in his voice. Yoshiko nodded. Yes Naruto-kun, she is my mother. Naruto continued to stammer out his opinions. But she is old enough to be my grandmother. Tsunade became angry and the vein on her temple appeared. Listen here brat. Yoshiko placed her hand on her mother's arm to calm her. Yes, she is old enough to be your grandmother but she is also old enough to be your mother too. She is my mother and I am only 14. So are you going to apologize or do I let my mother go so she can make you apologize to her, Naruto-kun? Naruto looked defeated and dropped his head down in defeat. I'm sorry. I couldn't hear that brat, Tsunade stated wanting to milk the situation for all it was worth. Yoshiko swatted her mother. Mother, be nice to Naruto-kun. It suddenly hit her that Yoshiko was referring to Naruto in an affectionate tone. Naruto-kun, what have you been doing while I was not around young lady? Yoshiko gave her mother a firm stare. We will discuss this in a little bit after you have gotten settled. Yoshiko pushed Tsunade into her room as Shizune closed the door behind them. Okay young lady, what is going on? Yoshiko took a deep breath. Look mom, I found out some things and want to confirm them. Tsunade's eyebrow rose quizzically. And those are? Did Naruto-kun convince you to return as the new Hokage? Yoshiko asked as she sat on the floor. Why, yes he did, he can be quite a persuasive person. Tsunade stated as she continued to reminisce about the last few days. Is Naruto-kun the Jinchuriki of the Kyuubi? Yoshiko went for the jugular. Tsunade was immediately pulled from her stupor. Who told you that? Yoshiko sighed. I just felt it. Tsunade shook her head. How did I get a daughter who could predict the future? To answer your question, yes his is a Jinchuriki. I shouldn't have told you that, but if you know then no need to keep it secret. So he is like me. Yoshiko exclaimed. Tsunade sighed. Yes and no. He was not born with a spirit sealed within him. I can't tell you which spirit he has sealed within him but you might not want to get too close to him. Yoshiko became very angry. I know he has the Kyuubi in him, like Gaara has Shukaku, Kurabi has the 8 tails and Yugito ni has the 2-tailed cat sealed within her. Shizune gasped. Tsunade looked concerned at her daughter. How do you know this? Aki told me. Yoshiko stated bluntly. You are bending the truth as I have never told you this. Just don't get me in trouble, let's see how far we can take this. Aki stated in her mind. I know that, but they don't so we can just wing it, and if they ever figure it out then we worry about it then. Yoshiko replied mentally. Who is Aki? Tsunade asked pointedly. Aki is my burden, my demon. I have talked to her. She knows that Naruto-kun houses the Kyuubi. She also says that I can help Naruto-kun because I possess the Mokuden ability like great-grandfather. I just need training. Yoshiko replied. Okay, let's say that we believe Aki, and you do possess the Mokuden ability. Why the sudden interest in Naruto? Tsunade asked as Yoshiko blushed. No, you can't tell me that you actually like the boy. Yoshiko nodded with a blush. I know we are still young and he is only 12 and soon to be 13 but there is a connection that I can't deny. Are you sure it isn't your demon telling you this and steering you towards him? Tsunade asked. Yoshiko nodded. Naruto-kun is the nicest person I have met. He cares for others and is quite strong, no thanks to others' sabotage. I believe I can help him and he can help me. It is almost as if we were meant to be together. Please mother, do not deny me this. Yoshiko pleaded. Tsunade sighed heavily. Geez, if I knew being a parent would have been this taxing, I would have opted to not have one. Tsunade relented. Okay, you can date him, but he will have to come over for dinner and make himself presentable. Yoshiko nodded, but worry crept into her face. What is it now? Well, a couple things. Naruto-kun never had a proper upbringing and is a little rough around the edges. Yoshiko replied shyly. Rough around the edges? Like broken glass or rough gravel, but I understand what you mean. You can help him become more presentable. What else is there? Tsunade inquired. Well, there are a couple of other girls that are living at the compound. Yoshiko braced herself for her mother to yell at her. When it never came, she looked up and saw that her mother wanted her to continue. One also has a bloodline, one having to do with ice. Naruto-kun and I saved her at a bridge named after Naruto-kun. The other might have a bloodline but has had her genetics messed with by Orochimaru. We are hoping to help her become more presentable or finish the bloodline surfacing. Okay, that is fine. Is there anything else like all of you liking Naruto? Tsunade asked as she saw Yoshiko freeze. No, not all of you. Yoshiko shook her head. So only a couple of you. Yoshiko again shook her head. How many? Yoshiko put up both hands. 10. What did this boy do to get that many girls to fall for him? Yoshiko shrugged. Anything else I should know? Yoshiko nodded. Yes, mother. I know who my father is. Tsunade froze this time. I am sure you can guess who it is, but I do know. Yoshiko was adamant about her knowledge. Okay, who is it? Tsunade asked with a smirk. Jiraiya. Yoshiko answered as Tsunade's jaw dropped. I am glad that I know who he is. I do not plan on following in his footsteps as a lecher. Good. Too bad I didn't actually marry the old fool. You might have had a sibling. So show me your Mokuten ability. Tsunade stated to change the subject. Yoshiko placed her hands together and a small bonsai-like tree rose out of the floor. I can do a little more than that, but it takes a lot of concentration. I wonder if Naruto-kun has a similar bloodline. Great, I have boy crazy daughter, and she is after one who has half the village chasing him. Tsunade complained. No, mother, most of the village detests him. It is changing, but it will take time. As far as I know, Haku-chan, Hinata Hyuga-chan, Isaribi-chan, Yakumo Kurama-chan, and Shion from the land of demons has true feelings for Naruto-kun, but I have a feeling that there will be others. Yoshiko corrected her mother. Tsunade shook her head. 3 clan heiresses, a priestess and 2 others right now. Does Naruto know about this? Yoshiko shook her head. No. Naruto-kun is fixated on his teammate Sakura Haruno. She abuses him and demeans him at every turn in favor of her other teammate Sasuke Uchiha, who I might add is currently in the hospital because of his brother Itachi. Sakura currently will not even leave his side to even train. Guess we head back to Konoha and fix things tomorrow. Tsunade admitted. Thank you, mother. Yoshiko stated as she lunged into a hug with Tsunade. For what? Tsunade asked, confused. For understanding about how I feel about Naruto-kun and about everything else. Yoshiko admitted. Tsunade tightened the embrace with Yoshiko. I am your mother and I understand first love. Just don't let him hurt you. Yoshiko nodded. I want to go spend some time with Naruto-kun, maybe I can steal him out from under the pink head while she doesn't even know what she has. Tsunade nodded as she continued to hug Yoshiko but also warned her. I do not want any grandchildren anytime soon. You can do that when you reach 18 years old. Deal. Yoshiko blushed and nodded as she left. Yoshiko entered the bathhouse knowing full well that Jiraiya was there and that Naruto was not. She kept the towel tight to herself. Well, we have a young kunoichi in training. You are a little young for my tastes. Your boyfriend has already left. Jiraiya stated in a boisterous voice. Yoshiko gently sat in the water. Master Jiraiya, I wished to speak to you without Naruto-kun around. Jiraiya became deathly serious. What did you wish to discuss? Yoshiko smiled innocently. My parentage. Jiraiya looked confused. What about your parentage? About you being my father. Yoshiko replied with a smile. Jiraiya's face became pale. You are my daughter, but Tsunade Haim said it was someone else. No, you are my father, just like I have a two-tailed fox sealed within me by the Shinigami. I came here to tell you this and to ask you a favor. Yoshiko admitted. You have a demon fox sealed within you. Jiraiya looked quizzically at Yoshiko. Yes, like Naruto-kun, but not as powerful. Yoshiko admitted. Is that why you pursue Naruto? Jiraiya questioned. No, I pursue him because I feel more than a connection with him. I think I love him. Yoshiko stated with a blush. Strong words from a 14-year-old. Jiraiya stated. Yes, there, but he has a certain magnetism about him that I find appealing. I have already gotten permission to date him from my mother. Now for that favor, could you train Naruto-kun to protect himself from those that are out to get him? Yoshiko pleaded. How do you know about people that are out to get him? Jiraiya inquired. Demons learn things and mind talks to me. It is afraid of my Mokudan abilities, so it is helping me. Yoshiko replied. So you are like your great-grandfather the first? Jiraiya questioned as Yoshiko nodded. So what can I do to help you with the Gaki? You know he is fixated on that Haruno girl. That will come in time. He will see her for what she is, an uncaring girl who would just use him for her own ends to get into the pants of the Uchiha. Yoshiko stated with much venom in her voice. I take it you don't like her. Jiraiya replied with a chuckle. Nope, not really. Yoshiko admitted with a smile. Well, Dad, I need to get out and start my courting of Naruto Uzumaki. I figure it should take at least a couple years before I can get him to marry me. What do you think? If he is smart, he will give up now and become my son-in-law as soon as your mother will let him. Jiraiya replied with a lecherous grin. I advise you not use this for your novels. If I get my way, he will know about you being my father and all the money you made from the books. Yoshiko stated with a smirk and exited the bath with a wave. You are nearly as bad as your mother. Maybe I should ask her to marry me. Jiraiya said to no one in particular. You should hurry up then, as there might still be a chance I could have a sibling. Yoshiko telegraphed over her shoulder as she entered the changing room. Yoshiko smirked as she closed the door and got dressed. She smiled inwardly, as it would be nice if her mother would actually go with her feelings and marry the old pervert. It would save her heart from breaking, him from beatings, and maybe his later death at the hands of pain. A single tear came from her eye as she remembered the news of his demise. Yoshiko left the building just as a group of elderly women entered the changing room. She couldn't help but smirk at what was going to happen today. Naruto-kun, in an admirable display of chivalry, would force Tsunade to see that her gambling ways were not so helpful to being a Hokage. She eventually found Naruto, or at least one of Naruto's clones. She had to admit he cleaned up better than she thought about it. She found out it was a clone by pulling it into an ally to get it away from Shizune, who had used a transformation just to appear as Tsunade. Shut up and kiss me if you want to hide from my mother. Yoshiko demanded, and the clone showed his lack of experience kissing by puckering his lips and making a fishy face. No, relax and do it like this. Yoshiko then proceeded to kiss Naruto. Once he understood what to do, she found him to actually be a good kisser. That was until an angry Tsunade smacked the Naruto in the back of the head. He then disappeared in a puff of smoke. Yoshiko was angry. Mother, I was working on getting him to dinner and look what you did. I am betting he doesn't even know that a shadow clone's memory transfers back to the original. Now look at all the work you have destroyed. Yoshiko knew it was Shizune but showed her righteous indignation at her kiss being disturbed. Shizune released the henge only to be pummeled by Yoshiko as she yelled. Stay out of my love life. Shizune disappeared in a puff of smoke. Another Shizune came around the corner rather angry. What were you doing kissing Naruto-kun? Trying to hide him from you apparently, so that I could ask him to dinner after we got back to Konoha, but you had to interfere. Yoshiko retaliated. Don't take that tone with me, young lady. Shizune ordered. Auntie, you ruined my perfect way to show Naruto-kun that I care about him. You don't care about my life. Yoshiko ran off crying. Shizune looked down and saddened. I thought I was just protecting Tsunade-sama. Wait, I got him. Shizune ran off in another direction. Shizune in Tsunade form had caught Naruto with the suitcase he had taken. Tsunade, Yoshiko and Boss Joriko looked on in awe as Naruto attempted to get away from Shizune and hand the case to a couple of hired men trying to make good on a debt Tsunade owed. Eventually it was all straightened out as the money had been paid back at an earlier date. Shizune was quite embarrassed by the whole affair. She also had to explain why Yoshiko was upset, in front of Naruto. Naruto was surprised to say the least as the memories of the clone came slowly to him. He looked at Yoshiko who was blushing and smiled kindly at him. He blushed in return. Naruto-kun, will you be our guest for dinner when we return to Konoha? Yoshiko asked as Naruto just nodded. She then leaned up to Naruto and kissed him on the cheek. She then whispered into his ear, I meant the other one too. Naruto thought about that and the kiss that Hinata had given him and promptly fainted to the laughter of everyone else. Naruto enjoyed the trip back home to Konoha. An older girl had kissed him and his clone. The big problem for him was how to deal with Sakura-chan and Hinata-chan when he returned. Sure, Yoshiko was pretty and nice to him if only a little bossy, but compared to Sakura-chan she was a saint. When did I start to think of Hinata as Chan? And would Yoshiko be a Chan, too? He kept on glancing over at Yoshiko every so often as she talked to her mother, Tsunade, who was now the 5th Hokage. He wondered what they were talking about. Yoshiko noticed every glance that Naruto made her way and blushed every time just like he did. She was not sure what was going through the other blonde Genin's mind, but she was sure she was at least playing a part in it. So mom, do you have any problems with me maybe eventually marrying that boy? Yoshiko inquired. You have been on your own for 2 years now, just so long as I don't get any grandchildren until he is at least 16, after that I don't care. What has caused your interest other than being able to talk to your tenant? Tsunade asked her daughter, not sure she actually wanted to know. Yoshiko smirked and just couldn't help herself. Well, Hinata-chan told me that he was most capable male in their class. Yoshiko replied and blushed profusely. Tsunade stopped dead. You didn't just say that, did you? You have him involved the daughter of the Hyuga along with yourself already. Yoshiko could not help but keep the tease going. Well, Yakumo Kurama-chan is also interested in him too, I did mention this before. Yoshiko got a faraway thinking look on her face. And there is also Haku-chan, and Isaribi-chan. How did he get such a fan club? Tsunade was astonished that this boy had such following of prestigious females, while inwardly she chuckled that the Uchiha boy could only get fangirls. Well, it helps that he is so cute and does not fight us or run away. Also, we do not follow him blindly and chase after him. We are working our way into his head and heart slowly. We all know he is only an unrefined boy of 12. I also have my bets that his paternity is actually of royal or noble blood. Yoshiko pointed out. Tsunade looked at her daughter as if she was someone else. What makes you think that? Yoshiko put her hand up to Tsunade's ear. He is the spitting image of Minato Namikaze. Pull off the whisker marks and you have his near double. Of course you would actually have to feed him a proper diet. I have seen him and he is undernourished for his age. Looking at his clothes you would think he was the proper weight, but both of us know he is very underweight. So you want to marry up, or so you think. What if I can prove that he is not the son of the Yondaime? Tsunade inquired. Want to lose another bet with me, mother? Yoshiko asked playfully. Okay, let's say you're right. Why has he not been honored for who he is? Tsunade asked. Maybe because his parents are dead and they had many enemies, like say Iwa, or members on the Konoha Council. I am betting they are even now trying to make it so that Naruto-kun can't marry anyone or be happy later in life. He is the innocent party in this whole Jinchuriki deal, but the village pushes all their anger and fear upon Naruto-kun. Yoshiko sadly stated. I even bet you thought of him as Kyuubi first and then as Naruto-kun afterwards. Tsunade lowered her head in shame. What do you want, Yoshi-chan? Yoshiko smiled broadly. I want to help with his mission assignments. I also want you to make me either a shinobi or give me a means to help him on some of his assignments. I also want to determine who can marry Naruto-kun. I would also like to create my own team. I already have some people in mind. Tsunade was taken aback. Will he agree to that? Yoshiko nodded with a smile. Yes, mother, I am sure he will agree. He has already met most of his fan club while he was in the hospital. There are 5 of us now in Konoha, but more may come around eventually. Are the members of your team also members of the fan club? Tsunade asked with a perverted leer. Yoshiko nodded. Mostly. Okay, yes, they are. I will give you a rundown of the fan club. First there is me, then there is Hinata Hyuga, Yakumo Kurama, the priestess Shion, Haku-chan, and Isaribi-chan. Hinata-chan is already on a team and all the others are not shinobi. Haku-chan and I are shinobi trained. Kurenai-san suggested we have Anko Mitarashi be our Jonin instructor. Haku-chan and I are of at least Chunin or even a higher level. My one question would be, would you treat Naruto-kun first before any other injured parties on a mission? Tsunade asked in all seriousness. Yoshiko smiled. No, Naruto-kun has enhanced healing and stamina recovery. I would triage the injured as expected. Both Haku-chan and I are fairly good medics. So I would say we were a medical team with some unique abilities in a fight. Tsunade gave Yoshiko a sidelong glance. What are your capabilities? I am similar to you and Jiraiya in that I am a brawler with enhanced strength and a fairly good arsenal of jutsu, mostly water, earth and of course Mokudan. Haku-chan is an ice jutsu expert, so she knows water, some wind jutsu, and Hyouden. Yakumo is a genjutsu expert. Isaribi is a water jutsu expert and a fair brawler. Yoshiko responded. Sounds like you have an overbalanced team for short range and are medical users. Yakumo doesn't have any taijutsu, I assume. Tsunade asked. You are correct, but we are working on that deficiency. She is weak but her strength is increasing every day with our training. Yoshiko added. Tsunade sighed. I will think about it. That is not a yes or a no. I would also like to make sure that everyone in your group can pass the Genin test. As Hokage, I could use a special medical unit. I would worry about you as you are my daughter. I also wouldn't want you to expect special favors for being the daughter of the Hokage. Okay, no favors, but I would like my opinion listened to. I could also help you out around the office when I am not out on missions or working at the hospital. Yoshiko replied to her mother's concerns. She then smiled wryly. I will also endeavor to keep a certain genin in line. Not with the types of favors your father likes, I hope. Tsunade quipped. Only after we are married would I do that, mother. Well, maybe before, but not until he is at least 16. I just hope he finds being like father is not beneficial to his life expectancy. Yoshiko countered. So have you talked to him about being a father? Tsunade asked. Yoshiko nodded. Yes, but he glossed over it, but said he should have married you those years ago. Tsunade smiled affectionately. I would only agree to that on the condition that he did not do his research, and we both know he will not do that. What about me getting another sibling? Yoshiko teased. Tsunade shook her head. I will take it under consideration. I might even use your boyfriend and Shizune to give you a sibling. Yoshiko froze. No, he is mine. Yoshiko yelled as Tsunade began to laugh hysterically. Not funny, mother. Everyone looked at Yoshiko as she yelled at her mother. Naruto was not quite sure if her comment was directed at him or not. If it was, he was in more trouble with Sakura-chan than he was before. Naruto suddenly stopped and everyone looked at him wondering what was going on. Naruto found himself in the dank dark realm of his mind where the Kyuubi dwelt. Great, now what does that damn fox want now? Naruto walked towards the cage and looked directly at the fox. What do you want now, fox? The fox laughed. Do you like the blonde girl? You can have her if you like, she can teach you many wonderful things. The fox teased. Naruto looked at the fox with a confused look. What do you mean wonderful? She is a good kisser. I just wish Sakura would kiss me like that. Be gone, whelp, and bother me no more, we will talk again. The fox told Naruto as he came back to reality as Yoshiko wore a concerned look on her face, and her face was only an inch from his face. So close, she is so cute, Naruto thought to himself as he quickly turned red and passed out. The adult began to laugh as Yoshiko quickly rested Naruto's head on her lap. Naruto quickly woke up to see Yoshiko smile at him and help him to stand. Naruto smiled weakly at Yoshiko as he did not know what to do. He apologized for fainting but was surprised by Yoshiko being in his face when he had been thinking. It is okay Naruto-kun, you are not alone in the burden you carry, there are others. Yoshiko replied as she looked to her mother to see if she would let her tell her secret. Tsunade smiled and nodded. Naruto saw this and was not sure what was coming next. You must tell no one what I am about to tell you. Yoshiko stated, but he could see her pleading in her eyes. He just nodded his response. I am also a Jinchuriki, as I also carry a demon fox inside of me. Naruto stopped dead. What did you say? Yoshiko took Naruto's hands into her own and smiled weakly. I also carry a demon fox sealed within me. It is nowhere near as powerful as yours. Please don't hate me. Naruto was shocked to know that there was another beyond Gaara and himself that carried demons. Is that why she seems so desperate to show me affection? Yoshiko's eyes began to tear up. Please say something, she pleaded. Naruto did what he knew best. He smiled a big grin and played dumb. I believe you, Yoshiko-chan. How did you know I am a Jinchu? Jinkor, what you called it? Yoshiko chuckled at Naruto and smiled warmly as a tear ran down her cheek. They are called Jinchuriki, a human sacrifice. It is a way to deal with a demon. We both carry demon foxes. I might be able to help you with yours if you like. Yoshiko offered. Naruto reached up and began to wipe the tear on her cheek away only to find her pressing her face into his hand. Naruto was totally confused. Jiraiya sighed at the scene and then walked over to Naruto and bonked him on the head. He then took Naruto aside. Gaki, you will eventually have some choices to make. I can tell that she likes you, but I know you like that pink-haired teammate of yours. My advice is for now to at least get to know the girls around you. You can date all of them that will put up with you, but don't date them at the same time. That would be a bad idea. Now when we get back we fix up your teammate and I can do some training with you and you can return to going on missions. Jiraiya explained. Training? Great, when can we begin? Naruto inquired excitedly. You still have some healing to do, but we can start in a couple days, and having a cute nurse as a girlfriend will make you heal a little quicker. Jiraiya stated as Naruto looked back at Yoshiko, who had her hands clasped in front of her, blushing and was turning side to side while she looked wistfully at Naruto. Omake. Yoshiko invited Naruto up to her room with a sinister purpose. She closed and locked the door after Haku, Hinata, and Isaribi all entered the room with her and Naruto. Okay, show me your distraction jutsu, you are so famous for. Naruto didn't even think about his surroundings, in that he was surrounded by girls and was going to show them a girl. Alright, here we go. Sexy jutsu. Naruto changed into a beautiful young woman of between 18 and 20. She wore nothing other than whiffs of clouds. Yoshiko took an analytical pose and then walked over to Naruto. Okay, I can see why the guys fall for it. What is this? She touched the cloud and it didn't move. Some form of genjutsu. Yoshiko then touched Naruto's. Naruto immediately blushed. Okay, you are missing the nipples and answer me this. How did it feel when I touched you there? Naruto blushed and spoke. His voice was different, higher in pitch and definitely female. It felt good, but I am not sure if I am actually ready for people to touch me that way. Naruto admitted. Yoshiko blushed. I'm sorry Naruto-kun. I am just testing a theory. Yoshiko knew something was wrong. How does he actually have real breasts, minus the nipples? I am guessing that the clouds are a type of genjutsu that only he can do. Naruto blushed as he didn't understand what was going on. I did it right, didn't I? Haku walked over and put her hand up to his breast but did not touch. May I, Naruto-kun? Naruto nodded as Haku gently touched him. Naruto's eyes rolled into the back of his head and he let out a moan. I see, it does feel good to you, doesn't it, Naruto-kun? Naruto nodded. You do know you're missing some things, don't you? Haku asked as she pulled her hand away. Naruto nearly followed the hand as her warm hand left a cold spot on his chest. The magazines didn't have any of the areas that were covered by clouds. I guess I let the guys leave it up to their imagination, Naruto admitted. Yoshiko nodded to Naruto. You can release the jutsu. Naruto nodded and returned to his original form. Naruto-kun, you wanted to perfect the jutsu, didn't you? Naruto's eyes lit up. Yeah, it would be great if I could do that, Naruto excitedly exclaimed. Yoshiko smirked as the rest of the girls also smirked. Well, first you have to understand female anatomy. Naruto smiled innocently. Okay. What do I need to know first? Yoshiko looked at Hinata. Hinata-chan, can you help Naruto-kun with the lips and face? Hinata blushed but nodded. Naruto-kun, re-engage your henge but with clothes this time. Make her our age also. Thus the rest of the afternoon went learning what it was to be female. A good time was had by all, and at the end of the day all remained virgins, at least physically. Naruto had to spend the night in the guest bedroom because of losing consciousness from blood loss. Seeing all the girls in their birthday suits didn't lend itself to keeping him conscious. Naruto didn't forget his night of show until anytime soon, as the girls would always giggle and sigh contently in his presence. This annoyed Sakura, as the girls always seemed to appear after the team meetings. It also annoyed Sasuke, as Yoshiko and Haku were in the group and they had kept on turning him down time and time again. How could the Dobi have all the luck with the girls now after he kept on striking out with Sakura? The gates of Konoha came into sight as Naruto was excited to be home. Yoshiko looked fondly upon the other blonde. Naruto is nearly healed from his encounter with Kabuto. He will be able to start training tomorrow. I will have to work with him on his chakra control so that he can eventually use the Rasengan one-handed. Now if the girls would be waiting for him, it would be great, Yoshiko thought as she then saw 4 females decked out in formal kimonos. Haku wore a dark blue with white snowflakes, Hinata wore a light purple with lavender flowers on it, Isaribi wore a jade green kimono with carp on it, and Yukuma wore a brown kimono with trees on it. Naruto and Jiraiya were awestruck by the appearance of 4 lovely girls waiting for their arrival. Tsunade was also impressed as she leaned down to whisper to Yoshiko. So they're the harem? Tsunade teased. Yoshiko smirked at the comment and her reply shocked her mother. That was the idea. Hinata walked to the group and bowed, as the other girls bowed behind her. Welcome back to Konoha, Lady Tsunade. We bring you and your group greetings and hope your journey was not too fraught with danger. Hello Naruto-kun, we bring greetings to you too. Thank you Hyuga-san, we appreciate you girls coming out to greet us on our return. Tsunade returned the courtesy. Now if you will lead us to the Hokage's tower, we can get down to business and fix up this village. As you wish Tsunade-sama. Hinata replied as the girls again bowed and then led the group to the tower. Upon arriving, Hinata spoke up for the group. We have to leave you now Hokage-sama, but we will visit you later. She then turned to Naruto. Naruto-kun, we will also see you later. Hinata wore a smirk and then winked at him as she and the other girls left the area. Naruto was dumbstruck and didn't know what to do other than babble. Yeah, right Hinata-chan, what just happened? Naruto questioned as the adults and Yoshiko just laughed. What? Well, mother, you need to go to the office and then to the hospital, as I am sure that Naruto-kun will want to have both of his teammates, Sasuke and Kakashi, healed. Yoshiko commented. Danzo appeared on the stairs with an angry look on his face and stared directly at Yoshiko. Yoshiko, you will take the offer or suffer the consequences. Yoshiko sighed and rolled her eyes. Danzo-tem, just go and jump off a mountain, preferably one near Kumo. Danzo moved forward only to be intercepted by both Tsunade and Jiraiya. Why are you threatening the daughter of the Hokage? Tsunade asked with thinly veiled anger. Danzo quickly corrected his posture. I'm sorry Tsunade Haim, I was just trying to instill the value of agreeing to the agreement the council has given to your daughter. It is in the village's best interests. Yoshiko laughed. You guys want me to marry his teammate, right? Yoshiko pointed at Naruto. I would rather marry Naruto-kun today than be bothered by that bastard Sasuke again. As a matter of fact, Naruto-kun, Yoshiko asked as she turned to Naruto. Will you marry me? Naruto was slightly taken aback by this quick turn of events. His mind was moving almost as fast as the situation. How do I answer that? Danzo smirked and immediately spoke up. You say no, so that she can be with the proper person, not a peasant like you. Danzo knew not to call Naruto demon in public. Naruto got angry at the treatment the old man had given him. Listen, old man, Yoshiko-chan asked me, not you. I truthfully have no idea how to answer that question, but I will be damned if she will be forced to marry someone she doesn't want to. Tsunade smirked as Naruto had defended Yoshiko's honor while not insulting her. You continue to amaze me, Naruto. If you wish it, I will allow you to be betrothed to my daughter. That is if you want to be. But, there is a slight problem. Naruto admitted as Tsunade raised an eyebrow. I do like Yoshiko-chan, but I also like Sakura-chan and Hinata-chan. I just don't know what to do. Danzo, get out of my way and go do something productive like attack a Cloud Village outpost by yourself. Jiraiya offered, much to everyone's delight, except for Danzo. Tsunade lead the way up the stairs as they met Shikamaru and his father. Tsunade and Shikaku spend some time talking and reacquainting themselves. So Naruto, who's the blonde? Shikamaru inquired. She is the new Hokage and she is Yoshiko-chan's mother. Naruto admitted as Yoshiko nodded. Damn Naruto, you are troublesome, you go and bring back the new Hokage and even know her daughter. Shikamaru made the comment in such a way that he was asking Yoshiko if she liked Naruto, to which she just nodded and smiled. Man, so troublesome, hey dad, let's get home before mom makes life too much trouble. Shikamaru called to his father, who broke the conversation to join his son on their trip home. Naruto waved goodbye to Shikamaru as the group entered the tower. Upon entering, Homura and Kaharu greeted them. Welcome Lady Tsunade, we hope your trip back wasn't too hectic. Tsunade features darkened. We did meet up with my old teammate and his apprentice. Now we have a couple things to do now that the formal greetings are over. Naruto, take me to your teammates so we can get them healed and back to work. You bet. Naruto happily responded as the group headed to the hospital. Naruto leaned into Yoshiko's ear and asked a simple question. So what do we do at dinner? I've never been invited to anyone's house before. Yoshiko frowned for a second, then her face brightened. After we take care of your friends, we will go shopping and then work on your manners. Naruto smiled, then he blanched. Manners? Aren't mine okay as they are? Yoshiko shook her head. My mother is now the Hokage and she is from a line of Hokages. I see that she has learned to trust again, thank you. Yoshiko pointed to the necklace as Naruto blushed. Don't worry, I will help you with getting proper clothing and we'll work on your manners. Trust me, if she gets drunk she might even make you Hokage and not even know it. Yoshiko joked as Naruto snickered. Hey you two, what are you talking about? Tsunade asked. Yoshiko looked over her shoulder with a smile. Nothing, mother. Yeah right, and I win all my bets when good things are happening. Tsunade retorted as both youths laughed. Can't you teach this kid any respect, Jiraiya? What can I say? He doesn't respect anybody. Why do you think he calls me Ero Sennin? Jiraiya retorted as Naruto and Yoshiko chuckled at his statement. See what I mean? It's not that bad, Ero Sennin. I could just call you pervert instead of perverted sage. Naruto commented as Yoshiko openly laughed. You want me to hurt you, Naruto? Jiraiya threatened. Hiashi didn't like to show emotions, but what he was seeing surprised him. His daughter had earlier made a bet with him that she could beat both Neji and Hanabi, and for this she would choose her prize. Now Neji and Hanabi lay on the ground panting with cuts to their clothes and the beginnings of bruises on their faces and arms. Hinata has shown that she could both use the main family's attacks and had also developed a new one. The elders were commenting quietly behind him about finding a suitable suitor for her. He knew this was no longer possible as she had set who she wanted as a suitor and his losing the bet had sealed it. It would have been easier if he had not signed the document that sealed the agreement. Now either you have been training hard or you held back during the Chunin exams, which is it, Hinata? Hiyashi inquired. Hinata grabbed a towel and wiped the sweat from her face. I have been training hard for the past month along with helping in the restoration of the village, father. Hinata answered without a stutter. So what brought about this change, my daughter? Hiyashi asked, wanting to know the answer. Hinata blushed and then giggled. I had inspiration. Care to share your inspiration, Hinata-sama? I could use it after the beating you gave both me and Hanabi-sama. Neji inquired as he continued to breathe heavily. Hinata smirked and shook her head. You will find out in a month or so. So is it agreed, father? Hinata asked as Hiyashi bowed his head in defeat and then he nodded. Congratulations, Hinata-sama. You will now be proclaimed the true heir to the Hyuga family. Kodai Hyuga proclaimed. Hinata shook her head. I am not truly ready to become heir and thus will not take the true mantle as of yet. Hinata replied in a formal tone. We are sure to find a suitable suitor for you, Hinata-sama. Kodai stated happily. The glare from Hinata froze the man in his tracks. I will choose my own suitor, not one you choose for me. Is that understood? But Hinata-sama, I'm sure that Neji here would be a fine mate for you to produce an even stronger bloodline for the Hyuga. Kodai stated. Hinata and Neji blanched at this. Why would I want to marry a boy who is like a brother to me? Given that our fathers were identical twins, it would be like marrying my own brother. It will not happen. No offense, Neji-Nisan, but I would not want to marry him as he is of a too close a relation to me. I have my eyes on another. The demon boy, that is out of the question. Kodai stated angrily. You are familiar with the third's law about disclosure about him, are you not? Hinata looked at Kodai with death in her eyes. Yes, but that does not apply. Kodai stated smugly. Neji, Hanabi, leave now as this is a discussion that you can't be a part of. You may ask the new Hokage about it later, but I need to talk to this worm now. Hinata stated with venom in her voice that shocked everyone in the dojo. Neji and Hanabi, not wanting to feel Hinata's wrath again, beat a hasty retreat. Hinata made sure they were gone before she turned to the older man. You know about his situation? Kodai nodded. I know, but I'm wondering how you do. Hinata sat on one of the benches in the dojo. I was there when he was informed of his condition and I do not care. He is himself and not something else. Hinata forcefully stated. He is a demon. Kodai retorted. If either Neji or Hanabi figure out what you are calling him, I will personally point this out to the Hokage and make sure you're given the proper punishment. Hinata threatened. What happened to my meek and unassuming daughter? And I'm not familiar with the incident where he learned about his condition. Hiyashi stated. It was the incident where he became a genin. I was there that night and heard it all. Hinata explained. He is my inspiration. Now I have a meeting to go to with my team and some more training to do. Good day, gentlemen, father. Hinata stood and left the dojo as a couple of the female elders laughed at Kodai's predicament. In a large house on near the Hyuga residence, a similar conversation was commencing. Are you sure, Yakumo-chan? There is quite a stigma associated with the boy. An elderly man asked. Yakumo nodded. Yes, I'm quite sure. I want him to help me by being my husband and mate. I think he will turn out fine. I have met him and he is quite cute and very nice also. What about the Uchiha boy? He is also single. The elderly man retorted. Yakumo chuckled into her hand. Please, grandfather, that boy has shown no interest in females ever. He has a following that has most of the girls my age are in, and also there is his teammate whom fawns over him. I would not want to try to get in the way of his self-destruction. His attitude would also not work for me. I will not be subjected to being a lesser to him. He also would not be interested as I'm in his words, not worthy to bear his children. This statement caused both Yakumo's grandparents to gasp. I would prefer a kind caring husband who is destined to become Hokage. I would wonder if the Uchiha boy would protect me or even the village. If that is your final decision, then we will draw up the paperwork. If he is a popular as you say, then we will set it so you are clan head and all your children will be of this clan. If he also marries another, then they can be for his clan and the clans will be allied. The grandfather explained as Yakumo just nodded her agreement. Two girls were sitting at the dango stand with Anko trying to fill out some paperwork. Dang, it is a lot of filling out to just try to get a marriage license in this village. Isaribi stated. Anko chuckled. So you two are after the Gaki. What makes him so special? Isaribi smirked before she answered. He is just that special. Anko blushed and then smirked. If he can get you two to be all hot and bothered like you are and wanting to fill out those. Where do I sign up? Anko asked as she gulped down a dongo. Haku covered her mouth as she chuckled. Naruto-kun and you do share a few things in common, Anko-san. This comment caused Anko to look at the ice user. You are both misunderstood by most of the village. If there is room in his heart, then you might be welcome to join. You would have to talk to Yoshiko-chan first though. The princess. Why would I have to talk to her first? Anko asked. She has first dibs on Naruto-kun, and the pink banshee has last if any dibs on him. Isaribi retorted, very coldly when referring to Sakura. Anko stuck another dango in her mouth as she asked her next question with a chuckle. Don't care for his teammate. Isaribi shook her head with an angry look on her face. We both know about he who will not be named. He did this to me and gave you a nice hickey. Isaribi pointed out as Anko's face turned blank and her hand moved to her neck. Yes, I know about it, and we are both the worse for knowing that man. The girl rates better than him, but not much in my book. She is violent in a bad way. You're just sadistic in your teasing way. She can be downright dangerous to the health of a team. You wouldn't kill your ally for just saying some offhanded remark, would you? Anko pondered the question for a couple minutes. I wouldn't kill them unless they deserved it, but no, I wouldn't. I might hurt them some, like a cut here or there, but nothing that could be fatal or put them in the hospital. The pink banshee has a habit of hitting Naruto-kun about the head. I'm afraid that all this abuse is what got him hooked on her. She may have caused him brain damage. He might deserve an occasional correction, but she goes beyond that to actually punish the boy for him not knowing any better. Isaribi stated with conviction. So why are you filling out the marriage licenses? Aren't you a little young for it? Anko asked, wanting to get off the subject of Naruto's teammate. The council wants me married and with children before I am ready, so I have chosen Naruto-kun as my mate and as such want it on file to make sure that they do not interfere with my life. Haku stated. I like you, Ice Princess. Since the council forbid me to marry because of he who shall not be named. Anko and Isaribi chucked at Orochimaru's new nickname. Can I join as a consort? That is if he is good in bed, that is. Haku and Isaribi both laughed hard. Haku finally composed herself. Again, that would be up to Yoshiko-chan for the determination of such things. Anko gave Haku a sidelong look. How many women are we talking here are going to be attached to the Gaki? Isaribi shrugged as she mentally counted. Quite a few. First we have the Senju clan, the Hyuga clan, the Kurama clan, and the two of us for starters. There may be room for you, Anko-chan, but only if you are willing to share, Isaribi stated with a perverse grin. Share? How do we share with that many girls? Anko asked, dumbfounded. Haku's answer caused Anko to drop her dango stick and then blushed profusely as she spit out her tea that she had been sipping. Shadow clone jutsu. Isaribi smirked at Anko's response. Inside the temple of the demon country, a young woman handed a servant a scroll. Take these 2 scrolls to the Hokage in Konoha. Send this scroll to the daimyo in vegetable country. Now be off, I have to meditate. Soon we will have you to ourselves, Naruto-kun. I know Yoshiko is first, but I will make sure you are both set and Akatsuki will be defeated. Now to figure out how to seal the demon's body and then help purify Naruto-kun and Yoshiko-chan. I'm sorry my child, we could not save you before, but we will fix that now. We will try to give you another chance at life with you, father. And as for that despicable Uchiha and his pink banshee, we shall make them have a hard life. Until then, Naruto-kun, my love. As you wish, priestess. The servant took the 3 scrolls and went off to have them delivered. Naruto, Yoshiko, Tsunade, Shizune and Jiraiya entered the hospital to find Sakura holding Sasuke's hand. Naruto looked at this and wearily smiled. Hey Sakura-chan, look what I brought. Someone who can fix Sasuke and Kakashi-sensei. Naruto exclaimed as Sakura looked at Tsunade and not even at Naruto. Tsunade examined Sasuke and then touched his head. Sasuke became somewhat coherent only to be glommed on by Sakura, who began to weep. Naruto smiled as he looked at Sakura and his shoulders slumped in defeat. Tsunade saw this and just shook her head gently. Yoshiko grabbed Naruto's hand and smiled warmly at him. There are other fish in the sea. Yoshiko quietly explained. The group left the room and entered Kakashi's room. Again Tsunade took only a second to dispel the genjutsu. Kakashi, how do you get yourself into these situations? Kakashi looked at Naruto only to slump his shoulders. I'm really not sure. Naruto was happy to have his sensei back but wanted one more patient looked at. Obachan, Naruto called as he curled his finger indicating that he wanted her to follow. Naruto did not lose sight of the fact that Yoshiko did not release her grasp on his hand as they walked to Lee's room. He's my friend, can you help him? Tsunade walked into the room with Guy and Lee as Lee sat up in his bed. Good afternoon, Naruto-kun. It is good to see you again. Who are these beautiful ladies that you have brought to grace me with their presence? Lee asked in a loud voice. Naruto and Yoshiko chuckled. He is the excitable type. So can you fix him? Yoshiko-chan here helped him some at the time of his injury during the Chunin exams. Naruto inquired. Tsunade did an exam and then turned a weary look towards Guy and Lee. Your injuries will not necessarily exclude you from being a shinobi, but it will require a risky surgery and a lot of rehabilitation. Guy and Lee were so excited that they embraced and called each other's names. Naruto and Yoshiko ran out of the room as the indestructible genjutsu of the sunset appeared in the room, much to the dismay of Tsunade, Shizune and Jiraiya. Naruto lifted his hand and looked down at it. He then looked at Yoshiko in the eyes. Why have you not let go? No one has held my hand for this long. Naruto sadly exclaimed. Yoshiko lifted Naruto's head by the chin to look him directly in the eyes. Because I like you, silly. Now let's go get you ready for dinner with my mother and Shizune. What about Sakura-chan? Naruto quietly asked no one in particular as Yoshiko began to lead them by Sasuke's room and showed him what was going on in the room. Sakura was crying as Sasuke continued to have a blank look on his face. She doesn't even see you. You brought help but she didn't even acknowledge it. I want to help you also. I know you screw up but she does not show you the respect that she should. I know you have saved her and will save her again. She thought that Sasuke defeated Gaara. I know it was you. You can treat her like a friend but I wouldn't expect her to show you her heart. She only sees him and that is her world. Yoshiko explained. So what is your world? Naruto asked. Well, I was hoping that you would come into it. You know there are a lot of people that like and admire you, dare I say some even love you. Yoshiko replied with a squeeze to his hand and a kind smile. Are you one of them? Naruto asked, almost not believing what was happening as Yoshiko nodded. Why are you being so nice to me? Yoshiko sighed and then placed her hand on his face gently. Because I know you need and want it, also I want you to be part of my life. You are a breath of fresh air, sunshine on a cloudy day, and a mask that can hide the pain. Yoshiko rubbed his face with her hand as she made the last statement. Naruto froze as she continued to rub his face. Tears threatened to escape his eyes as she drew him into a gentle hug. It is okay, Naruto-kun. You are loved and accepted. You do not know how much so, but you will over the next few years. Just be yourself and there will be nothing to worry about. Naruto only allowed a single tear to fall, but he steeled himself not to cry. He couldn't do that, not anymore. 20 minutes later, Naruto was smiling and running through the garment district with Yoshiko in tow by the hand. The glares bounced off the both of them as they appeared to not have a care in the world. Naruto halted as they came to an expensive clothing store and Naruto refused to enter as his smile turned to a frown. Naruto-kun, we need to get you some clothes that are proper for a dinner with my mother, the Hokage. Yoshiko stated gently. But they threw me out last time I came here. Naruto explained. Then they will also be throwing me out as I will not let them harm you. Yoshiko retorted as she gently led him into the store. Excuse me miss, but he can't be in here. A clerk stated as they entered the store. Then I am not allowed in here? Yoshiko asked in a sweet voice. Of course you are allowed in here, Yoshiko Haim. The girl replied in an apologetic voice. Yoshiko smirked at Naruto as Naruto knew this was going to get interesting. Where he goes I go. Also I have orders from the Hokage herself to get some new clothes for him and clean him up so he is presentable at dinner tonight with her. Do I have to go back to my mother and explain that I couldn't go shopping with Naruto-kun here with the excuse that the store would not service a person that brought back the new Hokage? Yoshiko asked pointedly. The girl blushed with embarrassment and bowed. I'm sorry, I didn't realize he was with you. By all means look around and let me know if I can help you find anything. The girl hurriedly exclaimed as she ran back behind the register. Yoshiko and Naruto spent the next hour trying on clothes. For Naruto this was a new experience. The clerk answered his every question if she only needed a stern look from Yoshiko to answer him. Naruto actually had fun getting some new clothes. In the end he left the store with 5 new formal kimonos, only one that was majority orange, all had at least some orange on them and a few other clothes for everyday use. The next store was more accepting of Yoshiko bringing in Naruto, but also it was a shinobi equipment shop. Yoshiko pointed out that Naruto might want another outfit for hiding when he was on a mission. Naruto thought about it but in the end only got one new suit, blue with orange trim. Yoshiko told him that she would not let him abandon his favorite color but thought he should tone it down. Yoshiko helped Naruto carry his new stuff home. Inside the apartment she helped him put it away and asked if he wanted to go for a late lunch. His stomach answered the question for him by growling loudly as both laughed at it. They went to Ichiraku ramen shop and were greeted by Tuki and Ayame. So Naruto, who is the pretty girl you are taking out on a date? Tuki teased as Yoshiko blushed. Naruto beamed as he didn't even think about it being a date. She is Yoshiko Senju, daughter of Tsunade of the Sannin, the new Hokage, and she is my friend. Naruto admitted with a blush. We would like 2 orders of pork ramen please. I know he eats a lot, so keep them coming until I say stop. Yoshiko explained to Ayame who smiled and nodded. Now Naruto-kun, we are going to use this more like a snack and work on your manners so that mother doesn't get angry. Yoshiko explained. Naruto gave her a confused look. Why would she be mad if I ate like I normally do? Yoshiko sighed and put a hand on his shoulder. Naruto-kun, I know you were not taught this but you will need to use some manners when you are going out to a nice restaurant or say my mother or the head of another clan. Naruto nodded as he waited for Yoshiko to show by example how to eat properly. Naruto followed her example but found it frustrating as it took so long to actually get the food from his bowl to his stomach. How does anybody do this? I mean it takes forever to eat. Naruto stated. Did people spill your food when you were younger? Yoshiko asked as Naruto nodded. No wonder he eats it so fast. He does that just to make sure he doesn't starve. Naruto-kun, no one is going to steal your food when we eat with mother, you will even have the time to enjoy the taste and also talk if you like. Yoshiko tried to explain as Naruto looked at her with noodles hanging from his mouth. Yoshiko had to giggle at the sight. What are you laugh at? Naruto asked as he talked with his mouth full of noodles. Naruto-kun, it isn't polite to talk with food in your mouth and I was laughing at you with the noodles hanging out of your mouth, it was cute. Yoshiko explained as Naruto scratched the back of his head and smiled as he let out an embarrassed chuckle. It was cute once, but I am sure mother would not approve. Naruto hung his head. Sorry. Yoshiko lifted his head by the chin and looked him in the eyes. You have nothing to be sorry for. I know you didn't know, so I wanted to let you know what you needed to correct. It was nothing big. Now let's continue your lessons. Yoshiko smiled at Naruto as he blushed and smiled at the attention that she was giving him and him alone. Tsunade shook her head and could not believe it. First, Yoshiko had given her a marriage document with the intent to marry a one Naruto Uzumaki. She then received one from the Hyuga stating that Hinata Hyuga also wanted to marry Naruto, and then one came from the Kurama clan stating that Naruto was the intended of their heir too. Finally, 3 more on her desk just made her think the world had gone crazy. First, Haku, the holder of a rare Kekkei Genkei, wanted to become Haku Uzumaki, along with a girl named Isaribi. The funniest one was one from Special Jonin Anko Mitarashi. She wanted to be special consort to Naruto Uzumaki as she had been forbidden by the council to ever marry. What did this boy do to attract all this attention? She knew about the other and was waiting for the message that was going to come from Demon Country, but she was shocked to see one from Anko of all people. Shizune entered the office with a couple scrolls and a smile on her face. I believe these are the scrolls we were waiting for from Demon Country. Tsunade pressed her fingers to the bridge of her nose. Shizune, are you going to want to marry the boy too? Shizune looked up confused. Why do you ask? Tsunade chuckled. Well, you are single and he appears to be the most wanted bachelor in the village other than the Uchiha boy for his age. Maybe later, Tsunade-sama. I am 15 years older than him, so it wouldn't work right now as he is only 12. Shizune responded with a blush. Anko has already thrown her name into the ring for him, why not you? Tsunade teased. If you feel that way, then I will see how he grows up and then I will make my decision. Shizune responded with a smile. Tsunade chuckled as she reviewed several of the files that Sarutobi had set aside and the proclamations that the council had made before she had become the Hokage. Her anger spiked as she read several of them, specifically targeting Naruto. One on a civilian majority along with the elders made it so that Naruto could not marry. He could produce children, that was fine, but he could not marry and was excluded from being the consort to any clan daughter. Another stated that Naruto was to pay fines in excess of 40,000 ryu for damages and theft from businesses in Konoha. This one had the clans abstaining from the vote. Yet another had Naruto to be billed from a private account to a business for clothing and shinobi supplies on a monthly basis, along with a grocery store that showed he had a huge bill for food purchased from them. Tsunade was not quite so trusting of the bills against Naruto and wanted to know about the private account that was being billed, as Naruto's account was also being billed by the same people. Shizune, I need you to look up something for me. There are a few discrepancies with Naruto Uzumaki's account and a private account that is also being billed for items. I want to make sure that he is not being gouged. Shizune nodded as she looked over the records. Is there any special reason you want me to check into this? Tsunade nodded. If that Gaki is going to marry half the eligible clan heiresses in Konoha, including my daughter, I want to make sure they don't take them to the cleaners. I also want some justice for Naruto-kun. It appears that the council is against him. What Yoshi-chan was worried about came to pass, but Sarutobi fixed it with a simple law that was signed by the Fire Daimyo. Naruto by the law is allowed to marry as many women that as will have him. Shizune looked at her in awe. Yeah, I know. I could marry the little runt and it would be okay according to the law. Tsunade and Shizune laughed heartily. I think I am going to like the Gaki. You think it would irk Yoshi-chan if I also sign a marriage document for the boy? Shizune looked shocked. Why would you do that? Aren't you a little old for him? I know I am on the borderline as I am old enough to be his mother, but you are old enough. Tsunade raised a single finger. Your next words may be your last, Shizune-chan. I know how old I am, but look at Anko's request. Tsunade handed the request to Shizune, who put her hand to her mouth, blushed, and gasped. Yeah, might overload him, but wouldn't it make for a fun evening? You are as bad as Jiraiya-sama. Shizune stated with a perverse smirk on her face. Yes, shadow clones could have others' uses. Okay, I need you to get to those things and have some information to me by dinner time as we have a guest tonight. Tsunade said with a blush to her face. Shizune left the office as the elders entered the office. Tsunade looked up and her face went from happy to annoyed. To what do I owe the honor of this visit? We wish to talk to you about your daughter and her dealing with that boy. Homura answered pointedly. What is it the business of the elders whom my daughter spends her time with? Tsunade asked, wanting to figure out what angle the old bats were coming from. He is a bad influence on others. Also, it would be better if she spent time getting to know the clan heir that is alone. Danzo responded. Tsunade tried to hide her disgust but was barely able to. That boy is trouble, and whom my daughter hangs out with is her business unless it puts her in danger, and Naruto does not constitute a danger to her. The boy has been taking precious time away from Sasuke Uchiha in interacting with your daughter and the holder of the new bloodline. Koharu responded. Tsunade laughed at the statement as the elders were taken aback by her actions. You think that Sasuke Uchiha is going to work well with my daughter or Haku-chan? My daughter has stated that if Sasuke were to try to touch her, she would rip his testicles off and shove them down his throat, while Haku-chan pinned him to a tree for the birds to eat. So I think I am doing the boy a favor by not letting her close to him. If the Uchiha are to be revived, the boy should show some interest in the girl that was hanging on him when I healed him. Tsunade countered. Other business we came to discuss is about the restoration of the village after the attack. Homura commented. Naruto entered his apartment with Yoshiko in tow. Naruto was both confused and on cloud nine. No one had ever spent this much time or had this much patience with Naruto, not even Sarutobi or Iruka. I think you need to get dressed for dinner tonight, so do you need some help? I have seen you in your boxers before, so it wouldn't be a shock for me if you wanted my help. Yoshiko offered. Naruto blushed and nodded as he led her to his bedroom. Please. Aren't you forward? Asking me into your bed on only our first date? Yoshiko teased. Naruto looked confused by the comment. What do you want to sleep here tonight? Naruto asked. Yoshiko laughed at the comment, then remembered what Shion had told him about his knowledge of sex, which was basically nil. Naruto-kun, were you allowed into the sex education classes during the academy? Yoshiko asked, knowing the answer as Naruto shook his head sadly. That is okay, we'll make sure you get that training later. Yoshiko stated with a wink which turned Naruto beet red. Now let's get that kimono on you. Take off the clothes, mister. Yoshiko ordered as Naruto stripped to his boxers. Shizune answered the knock on the door to find Naruto in a very handsome kimono with Yoshiko hanging on his arm. Hi Shizune-san, I was hoping it would be a little bit until dinner. I wanted to freshen up a little. Yoshiko stated as she led Naruto the living room and sat him on the couch. She left for her room and a shower. Hello again, Naruto-kun. Shizune kindly greeted Naruto. Hey Shizune-nichan. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to be so loud. Naruto apologized as Shizune giggled at Naruto's awkwardness. It is okay, Naruto. We know you have not had a chance to attend a dinner at another's house. Please feel welcome to relax while dinner is being finished. Shizune told Naruto, who sat stiff as a board. Naruto felt fingers running through his hair only to turn and find Haku's lips. Hi, Yoshi, UPMP. Haku smiled after the kiss as Naruto's eyes remained wide open. Isaribi-chan, you should try them, they taste like ramen. Haku teased. Really? Came from a voice behind Naruto. He turned only to catch Isaribi's lips, who kissed him deeply. She nodded as she broke the kiss. You're right, I like it, I will take one of these to go to my room. Isaribi teased as Naruto blushed a shade red the girls didn't even know existed. Are you girls teasing our guest? Tsunade entered the room questioning them as both nodded. Well, it looks like you are keeping him happy until my daughter returns. Keep up the good work. Tsunade stated as she then Naruto on the lips, who promptly passed out. You're right, he does taste like ramen. Tsunade laughed as she left the room. This is going to be an interesting evening. I just hope the girls have enough self-restraint not to assault him tonight. He is not ready for a relationship just yet. Give him some time and I think he will warm up to them, maybe even me. Tsunade thought to herself and chuckled as she made her way back into the kitchen. Haku and Isaribi placed Naruto unconscious form back on the couch and then sat beside him. You think we overdid it? Isaribi asked. Haku shook her head. No, we didn't, the Hokage on the other hand did. I am hoping we don't have to add her to the mix. If we do, then oh boy, are we in trouble? Shizune maybe, but Tsunade-sama, I am not too sure about. Haku replied. After a few minutes Naruto began to wake. Hey Sakura-chan, please don't hit me, I didn't know they were going to kiss me, please, don't kill me. Naruto pleaded as he woke. Haku placed a finger on his chin and his cheek gently. Naruto-kun, I will not allow her to kill you, you saved me so you shall be rewarded. Haku whispered into his ear. What do you mean rewarded? Naruto asked as he turned his head to meet Haku's face. In his mind the fox was laughing and howling so much so that Naruto couldn't think straight. You will see, in time. For now we will help you with your training. After that we shall see what comes up, Haku teased as Naruto became confused. So Naruto-kun, are you ready for dinner? Yoshiko's voice came from behind him on the couch from the stairway. Naruto turned only to mouth. Wow, as he saw Yoshiko in a white kimono with trees on it, her hair held back in a single ponytail and he could swear that he was looking at an angel. Huh. Yoshiko turned and looked down the back of her kimono. Do you like what you see? Yoshiko asked as Naruto just nodded dumbly. Good, then we can go to the table, unless you want something from me. Naruto began to nod. Yes, but then his mind cleared and he shook his head. Hey mom, is it time for dinner yet? Yoshiko yelled into the kitchen. Quote, Naruto thought back and finally placed what she was taking about. But how do I remember you kissing my clone? Yoshiko giggled as his confusion. Silly, a shadow clone has more uses than just filling an area with copies of yourself. When it is dismissed you gain all the knowledge of that clone. But like all forbidden jutsu it is a double-edged sword. Yoshiko explained as Naruto showed his confusion. If I take a clone into the other room and tell him a secret you will know it after the clone disperses. Now a double-edged sword means that while there is benefit there are also drawbacks to this jutsu. First, it requires a lot of chakra to initiate the jutsu. Second, it will spread your remaining chakra evenly among all the clones you create. Third, all fatigue and mental exhaustion the clones have is transferred back to you. Thus it could then cause you to pass out from both mental and physical fatigue when the clones are dispersed. Naruto nodded but still looked confused. I think I get it. Let's say for example Sakura learned the technique, she barely had enough chakra to make one shadow clone let alone enough to spread across herself and the clone, so she dies by using this jutsu. Sasuke on the other hand could make one clone but would not be able to do much as his reserves would be nearly tapped and his other jutsu would kill him if he or the clone used them. So the shadow clone is usable by Jonin and those like us who have high chakra reserves. You can make quite a few more clones than I can, or anyone else for that matter. You could make shadow clones your signature but I would also learn other jutsu to balance your abilities. Yoshiko explained. You mean I'm special? Naruto exclaimed excitedly. Yoshiko kissed Naruto gently on the lips. Yes Naruto-kun, you're special, to me and to several other people as you will come to find out over time. Now let's go eat. Yoshiko led Naruto into the dining room only to have to help him figure out that he still needed lessons in etiquette. Naruto spent the rest of the evening trying not to embarrass himself as Yoshiko showed him the proper way to have a formal dinner. Tsunade was impressed that Naruto hung on Yoshiko's every word and did his best not to embarrass her or make her look bad. At the end of the night Yoshiko walked Naruto home. Yoshiko looked at Naruto with a kind smile and a longing look in her eyes. Naruto did not understand her look so just filed it under, have no clue so do nothing. Naruto-kun? Yoshiko asked. Yes, Yoshiko-chan. Naruto responded. Did you enjoy dinner? Yoshiko asked as Naruto nodded. I hope you weren't too embarrassed by the actions of me or the others tonight. Naruto scratched his head and thought back over the evening. Well, there is a lot I still don't understand. Like why Haku-chan, the girl, Isaribi, and your mother all kissed me. I know you like me, but why were they kissing me? Yoshiko placed a finger on Naruto's lips. Haku-chan and Isaribi-chan both like you, for who and what you are. Naruto's eyes lit up with fear. They have guessed that you contain a demon but don't care. They don't know which one and just keep on guessing, but I will not tell them. So your secret is still safe. I did not tell them, they are just guessing. Tomorrow after your team meeting and after your missions, if you have any, come to my house and we will work on some training. You may not bring any of your teammates as Sasuke is not wanted, and I will not have Sakura hurting you in front of me. I fear that I would hurt her back if she did so in front of me. As for your sensei, that is up to you to decide. But under no circumstance will you bring Sasuke, unless you want him to be castrated. Naruto looked confused by the word. Haku has promised to put ice and bond into his testicles if she sees him on the property. Yoshiko exclaimed as Naruto chuckled. I know why you don't like Sasuke-tem, but why do you not like Sakura-chan? Naruto asked. Can we go inside and talk? Yoshiko asked as Naruto nodded and opened the door. Both left their sandals near the door and made their way to the kitchen. Would you like some tea? Yoshiko sat down at the table and smiled. What do you have? Some really expensive tea. Naruto pulled out a box of tea and Yoshiko laughed. What? That is the cheapest tea in the village. Yoshiko admitted. Naruto looked downtrodden. It cost me 10 ryo. We shall talk to the place where you got that tomorrow and get your 9 ryo, 3 bu and 2 shu back. Yoshiko replied but nodded. That tea would be fine and thank you, Naruto-kun. You are going to help me get money back from the grocer? Naruto asked as he put a kettle on the stove. He got a couple of cups out of the cupboard and set them on the counter near the stove. Yoshiko folded her hands in front of her on the table and looked at Naruto. So are you going to tell me why you like Sakura so much, and I will tell you why I don't like her? Naruto nodded as he filled both cups and put one down in front of Yoshiko. He sat down and sighed. You will not repeat this to anyone. Naruto stated and waited until she nodded. When I was younger I saw this girl with pink hair who was being picked on, but when she smiled she looked really pretty in my eyes. One day a bully was attacking her. I ran up and stood up for the girl. The boy looked at me and ran yelling demon. We both know why, of course. Naruto stated as Yoshiko nodded and Naruto continued. She smiled and I felt so good after all the ignoring the people had done of me was gone for the rest of the day. I wanted to see that smile again. Naruto looked almost depressed. So I would do or say anything to make her smile. It felt so good that I would do anything to have her smile again. Yoshiko put her hand on his hand. Naruto-kun, that isn't love. That is yearning for acceptance so hard that you will do anything for it. If I can give you that which you desire, will you not let her abuse you again? Yoshiko asked. Naruto was confused. I love her smile, so I love her. Naruto defended his opinion. Yoshiko smiled at Naruto and Naruto's heart skipped a beat. Naruto-kun, there are more fish in the sea and we all can smile. But few of can love. What has she done for you since you got on her team? Yoshiko asked as she sipped her tea but continued to hold Naruto's hand. Naruto's eyes began to water. Why do you ask? Naruto asked as his body began to shake. Yoshiko squeezed his hand and smiled warmly. Naruto-kun, when was the last time she kissed you? Offered a kind word, thanked you for what you have done for her? Naruto's eyes began to tear and his body began to shake as he looked at Yoshiko. Why are you doing this? I love Sakura. Yoshiko shifted out of her seat and moved around the table. Naruto-kun, I didn't say that you couldn't love her. I only asked you what she has done to thank you. Has she smiled again for you? She asked as she wrapped him in a hug. It's alright, Naruto-kun, I'm here for you. I wish I was here sooner, but I am here for you. Naruto put his head into her chest and began to weep. Why doesn't she show me a smile again? Naruto pleaded. You know why, and for what it is worth, Naruto-kun, I am sorry. Yoshiko said as she squeezed tighter. I do care for you, Naruto-kun, very much so. She whispered into his ear. How can you like a monster like me? The people I helped don't even like me. Naruto retorted as he continued to cry. You helped Haku-chan and she likes you, she has even kissed you. For that matter, Hinata-chan, Isaribi-chan and I kissed you. I even believe my mother kissed you. The kiss I gave you, I meant it. I like you very much, more so than you may know. I know how it is to be a Jinchuriki. The looks, the hate, I even got it from my mother on occasion. When she was drunk, she would look at me like I was a monster. That is one of the reasons I left and came here. They think I'm the prim and proper daughter of the great Tsunade of the Sannin. I know she loves me, but there are times where she does not see me as human. This is a burden that we share that we didn't really ask for. I got my burden a couple years before you. I know there are others like us and we live with our burdens as best as we can. I believe that the best taken care for are in Kumo, but the worst are here, you and that boy from Suna, Gara. Yoshiko explained as Naruto felt a teardrop hit his face. I know the masks we wear and how much it hurts when those we love show us their darker side. I love my mother, but there are times she is to be feared. Naruto wrapped his arms around Yoshiko's waist and squeezed tightly. Don't leave me alone. Naruto pleaded as he looked up into Yoshiko's eyes. She answered without a word, she just nodded. They stayed there for a long time before Naruto loosened his grasp. You aren't going to leave me, are you? Yoshiko wiped the tears from her eyes and shook her head. I won't leave you, Naruto-kun. If it takes staying here for you to believe me, then so be it. She bit her thumb and made a few hand signs and proclaimed. Summoning jutsu. A small slug appeared. Go tell mother that I won't be home tonight. Naruto-kun needs me. Tell mother that everything will be alright. Yes, mistress. I will inform Lady Tsunade now, Lady Yoshiko. The slug disappeared. Yoshiko smiled weakly. Guess I'm spending the night. I hope you don't mind sleeping together. I promise I won't try anything. Yoshiko stated as Naruto shook his head and headed towards the bedroom, disrobing as he went. Yoshiko picked up the kimono and other articles of clothing in his wake. She neatly folded his clothes and put them on the dresser. May I use one of your shirts to sleep in, Naruto-kun? Yoshiko asked as she slipped out of her kimono as Naruto nodded. You may watch, as I have also seen you in a state of undress. Yoshiko stated as she stood in her panties and bra. She pulled out a white shirt with an orange Konoha symbol on it. She set it aside and removed her bra in full view of Naruto. Naruto blushed as his eyes opened wide. I'm honored that you find me attractive, Naruto-kun. Yoshiko stated as she put the shirt on. I may not be your sexy jutsu, but I hope I make you happy. Naruto looked confused. You are here and said you would stay. Why wouldn't I be happy? Yoshiko bowed. I'm sorry, Naruto-kun. I thought you would have. Never mind. Let's go to sleep. I will hug you for as long as you like if that is what you want, or I will just lie beside you. Naruto smiled wearily. A hug would be nice. If it isn't too much trouble. Yoshiko smiled and shook her head. For you I would do anything. Naruto stopped and looked at her. What did you say? For you I would do anything. And I mean it, you are special to me. She neatly folded his clothes and put them on the dresser. Is it because we are both jin, whatever with foxes? Naruto asked suspiciously. Yes and no. I can only say a little more than that. We are linked in that I will not deny, but I will not force you to take this link. You will have to discover it for yourself. Yoshiko stated as she gently pushed Naruto onto the bed. She followed and lay down behind him. She then gently wrapped her arms around him. I can only show you the paths, but you must choose which you will take. Good night, Naruto-kun. Good night, Yoshiko-chan, Naruto replied groggily. Yoshiko smiled, but also a tear fell from her eye. What did you truly go through, Naruto-kun? You were not this frail before they killed you. What steeled your resolve? His promise to the pink banshee, when he realized she was lost to him. Kyuubi replied in her mind. Humans are frail creatures, bereft with emotions that cloud their judgment. He is conflicted between what he perceives as love and what you know as love. He is infatuated with his image of the Haruno girl, but does not truly love her. You have shown him what he didn't want to see. It has been done and there is no turning back now. Either he breaks or we all die. It will be decided by the time the bastard Uchiha leaves. If he makes the same promise we die. Naruto shifted and Yoshiko noticed the tears. She doesn't love me. She only loves Tem. Yoshiko squeezed Naruto gently. But how can I love Yoshiko-chan, Hinata-chan and Haku-chan? Wouldn't that be betraying Sakura and all I've done for her? Naruto queried in his sleep. Yoshiko contemplated Naruto's sleepy question. No, Naruto-kun, it wouldn't be a betrayal. She gave you something you wanted but didn't realize what it was that she gave you, so she is ignorant and doesn't care. With how we are now, I am sure Hinata-chan will want to take over and show you her feelings tomorrow. I'm sure that Sakura would have killed you on the spot for seeing her bare chest. You are so innocent, it isn't funny. I want to show you what love is, but you need to understand the basics first. So my host shows her perverted spots. Aki spoke into Yoshiko's mind. It is only perverted if you think about those who you only want to use, Aki. I love him. I know my older self had a lot of influence on this, but I also know that I love him with all my being. Without him, neither of us would exist, we would be dead. Yoshiko thought to her guest in her mind. That may be true, but if you consummate this now, he will fall short of our goal. I know you are fighting urges that you are not used to and your older knowledge can only begin to understand, but you need to wait for the right time. He is not ready. Kyuubi told me that his mind is in turmoil and pushing another into his bed might not be good, though Hinata-chan might do the trick as they have a link that is different than ours. If she stays the night, you should be here for the night, share some tea or the like, but only if he asks you to stay. Aki commented. No, Hinata-chan, what are you doing? Why are you dancing in front of a waterfall? Naruto blurted out in his sleep. Yoshiko heard the chuckle of the Kyuubi and Aki in her mind. Why are you tormenting him? Yoshiko asked, only to be barraged with the sights of the mission to retrieve the bug, specifically the night Hinata was practicing her new maneuver. She is actually well developed for a 12-year-old. Now I know why she is so shy, she is even bigger than I am. Again the foxes chuckled in her head. I will not leave you, Naruto-kun, I love you. Yoshiko settled down and wrapped her arm tighter around Naruto and was soon fast asleep.